All right. So I'm very excited that my music should be okay, even though I got it right on the second day of the Virtual Symposium. So we're going to play the song that we wanted to play last week, but I couldn't play for week 32. But we are in week 33 of Why Do People Dance This Weird? Because I'm trying to get people to understand that the name is What Did Prince Do This Week? And also, we're going to be talking about the Dance Electric this week. So I thought I'd bring back our title by Theo, who will be joining us later today to talk about the Virtual Symposium. And we'll also have another guest, CydneeC, and hopefully we'll have a couple of other guests. Thank you so much, Man Ray. I really appreciate it. I'm tired because of it, so my energy level is a little low, but I'm going to kick it up. And then, obviously, first in the chat, we got Cassandra Bradley, the one and only ATWIAD, and then we got Christina from Minneapolis. There was a lot going on last night, Christina. What did you go to? Did you go to the listening party, or did you go to the cornbread performance, or did you try to do both? Like, what happened? Then we got April from Tampa. We got Nick Felden from Denver. We got Melvin Rush the second. Yes, we be cutting. And we got Sister Charles. We got Kimberly J from the Netherlands. Always excited to have someone from the Netherlands join us.
Yeah.
We got our timekeeper, Kim, also from the ATL. Yes, Dr. Claw, why do people dance this weird? And then we got Chad Martin from Minneapolis. We got Tanja all through the night. That has been in Martha Vineyard. Hopefully you're not as tired as I am. And we got Monk. What up, purple people? We got Laura. Good evening from Romania once again. Thank you so much for joining us. We got Lisa Williams from H-Town. We got another ATWIAD, Audria. Happy Saturday. And then we got one of our special permanent guests, CydneeC McInnis.
What up, Celie?
How you doing? Talk to us.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You came in with your what you got on? You got the graffiti bridge official top. You know what I'm saying? That prototype. I feel you. Okay.
And look here,
comes out in the wash. You feel me?
Look here, it's right now in Mississippi. It's 100 in hell in the shade. when it's 100 in hell in the shade, player. Now, look here, I got 3 of these. I got a black one, a white one, and a red one.
Damn, you got the shake one, you got the
right.
tick bang, and then you got the.
That's it. Right. That's it. So that 100 in hell in the shade. So yeah, look here. And you know, people like they'll look at them at first when I'm like, I'm Mississippi, so it's still conservative. People look at me kind of funny, and then all of a sudden they'll go like, man, that look like that's kind of cool, lady. You ain't hot at all. I was like, no, player, I'm comfortable. So yeah.
Got that Jesus superstar top on. I'm messing with you.
Michael, no, you did.
Still was standout time. Still was standout time.
Yeah, there you go. Got the arms out.
Who the fool is singing Will is Wood? Because see, time was staying still. We just turn all it around, you understand?
There you go.
Still was standout time. All right, back to the regular program.
Oh my God. Yes. And we got Drea Dances in the house. Thanks for the recording the symposium. I rewatched all the recordings this week. Amazing. And all of you still can until Sunday night. You just need that original registration link you had, or you can go to come30.substack.com and register, and you can see them until Sunday night at midnight. And then eventually being the key word, they will be posted on YouTube at Polished Solid as well as Vimeo. So if you really want to see them, now's the time to see them. And we'll talk more about that later. And why do people dance so weird? And then we got Andre from Detroit. What up, though? Yes, we've been talking about this a couple weeks, Andre. But yes, Prince was recently inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame. That is right. But we should be talking about that every week because it took so long for them to do that. So we are excited that Prince is finally inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And we got another Mississippian, Zakia, in the chat. But
what's up, Mississippi homegirl? What's up, Mississippi homegirl?
I didn't realize that, but resides in Atlanta. All right. Atlanta is always in full effect every week. And I love this. Kim, timekeeper. That's right. Oh, no. Christina couldn't go to either event, had to work. I totally understand working. And then we got Raywin. All right. And then we got D68A from the UK. Thank you so much for joining us and all that you do for the Prince community. And welcome, Clarissa, back from Minneapolis to join in New York City. So I just want to remind everyone that the symposium was free, but I really would love for you to donate to a GoFundMe for Divas for Social Justice, which is my friends Clarissa's makerspace that they're trying to get off the ground in an amazing way in Minneapolis. So I'm going to put that in the chat so that you can contribute if you'd like. I really, really, really appreciate it. And then we got, and then Clarissa, I know that you went to the cornbread event last night. So tell us in the chat how it was for you and like how was the reception? Were there a lot of people there and all that jazz? That'd be amazing. And then we got TP. Yes, you have been away for a bit. Welcome back. And let's see. Yes, I'm glad you made it out alive. Yes, see, Liegh is here. Yes, special permanent guest. We got Blade Brown here. And we got Heavenly Gangs. Thank you so much for being here and for coming to the symposium. It was so amazing seeing you there. And everybody who is one of our regulars who actually came out to the Virtual Symposium. It was so amazing to have you guys there. And we have Brandy T in the house. And we got CydneeC, who's going to be joining us later to talk about their experience of the Virtual Symposium. And yes.
CydneeC, won't you dance with me? I don't do it. Yes. What's the matter, Cindy? Don't you like me? Barely get enough?
Yeah. They on that the whole show.
Yes. And then we have Still Would Stand All the Time, my favorite song from Graffiti Bridge, Ben Ray 10. And Stephanie's asking, do you plan on still doing the Diamonds and Pearls deep dive in October, or have you canceled that? I don't know. I haven't. I'm still thinking about it. I haven't canceled that, but I still need to, I'm trying to do one thing at a time because I still need to wrap up the Virtual Symposium. And to be honest, I still need to wrap up the Erotic City Symposium, but I haven't had time for that. But I do plan on it if I can get people to join me because I don't want to do it by my lonesome. All right. And then we got, yes, Pastor Seeley. It's Princely GQ Sharp. That's what I'm talking about, Melvin Rush. And hello, Dr. Mari. Thank you so much for your presentation at the Virtual Symposium. Really, really, really appreciate it. And D68 missed you last week was 20 years. Yeah, we did What Did Prince do this week through the Virtual Symposium. So that's actually one of the things that I still need to do is to post that episode to YouTube. And I'm going to do that once I get off of here. And then, let's see what else. We got El Michelle from Brooklyn. Thank you. Yes, y'all worked it like a dang job. That's right. El Michelle, that's what we did. And yes, Love for Divas. And all right, Purple Cat Confetti has their April 2024, April 2025 State Theater, Here I Come, where they're doing the premiere of, or I don't know what they're calling it, of the Purple Rain musical. And then we got Tracy in the house. Hello, Tracy.
All about that.
Yes.
University, Tracy.
Oh, okay. Howard? I didn't know that.
Tracy, put it in. I know you went to HBCU. Was it Howard? I want to make sure.
Yeah. The heat is getting, I'm so behind. Okay. And then let's see. So Raywin, you didn't get the memo. We were on last Saturday, except that we were on a different platform. We were in the Virtual Symposium, which was on a different platform. So I'm going to get that posted to YouTube this afternoon. It's just that work has been pretty crazy for me. So let's see. Carol Brooks is saying, Celie starting us off right. Good morning, everyone. Still flying high from last weekend. Thank you all thank you to all that made me laugh and think deeper. That's what we were trying to do, Carol Brooks. So I'm so happy that you have confirmed that that's what we were doing. And I love Andre's quote, to quote Sparks, the kids see Leah's in rare form tonight. I love it though. And yes, 2025. And then Clarissa saying Cornbread Harris event was extremely moving and sold out. They had copies of the book for sale with the card that had his and Andrea's signature. I loved it. St. Paul was sitting in the same row as me in the back. That's the place to be. Awesome. And Zacchaeus also bought their ticket for the upcoming premiere of the Purple Rain musical. This is so amazing that everyone is supporting the musical, and Tracy has confirmed, yes, attended Howard School of, I'm assuming, communications. And yes, and Christina has their ticket as well for the musical. All right, so let's get into our slides really quickly in our housekeeping. So this is what did Prince do this week? And I keep saying this because people call it different things, and I'm trying to get people to remember it's called What Did Prince Do This Week? And we're going week to week, not day to day. I'm so delighted that Celie finally figured out what that actually means a year and a half later. Maybe some others will also have the same epiphany at some point, but we're going week to week, not day to day in the book. And then you can follow the detailed schedule at this QR code or bit.ly link. You do not need the expanded edition, but that is what we are reading with the blue type. That's the one. That's what the schedule is based off of, but it's okay if you have the original version as well.
I thought it was turquoise. Hey, just so you know, Brother Dean, turquoise, lilac, lavender, them colors you learn once you've been married. Don't no single man know. Don't no single man know what salmon is. I need you to go put that salmon shirt on. Don't no single man know what that is. So, turquoise, that's a color I know because I'm married. That's all. Back to the regular show.
All right. And let's see. These will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at MD. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word for Prince first and foremost, but also for Duane's book. I mean, we want to get the word out so we can continue to help him sell more copies so he will write more books. That's kind of the reason why we're doing this. And also to remind me when I'm complaining, because I'm complaining this week about I'm behind and all that. Prince didn't complain. He just kept it moving, and he did a gazillion things in a week, particularly this week. So I need to shut my mouth. All right. So our hashtag, someone messed up that hashtag this week. So the hashtag is WDPDTW for What Did Prince Do This Week? Or why do people dance this weird? Whatever works for you. For the mnemonic, you be my best friend. And let's see. Okay. Purple Cat says the book club needs to regroup in Minneapolis in April at the State Theater on Saturday, 6:30 p.m. We got Olga in the house, and Dr. Claus says, I have a couple of salmon colored shirts. And we got Ricky in the house. What's up?
What's up, Rick?
What's up, Brother Wyatt?
All right. And Ricky joined us last week as well. Okay. So our disclaimer. The estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. This is an independent endeavor. And yeah. All right. So we were playing what I wanted to play last week, but I had some Zoom issues because we were on Zoom last week, for those of you who didn't know where we were. And before we talk about that, I got two screens going on, so I had to find it. Love Sexy. We got Love Sexy 71 in the house, and we got some Rickies. All right, so Isla Mujeres from the 1993 Paisley Park release of Eric Liedt's Things Left Unsaid. These are the players. There's a lot of them. And but one thing you should know actually is this was composed by Santi Vega. And Santi Vega, if I remember correctly, has his own version of this. And it sounds a lot different from this version. And of course, I'm partial to, who you think, the Eric Lee's version. So, but the Santi Vega version is cool too. And I'll make sure that I actually add that to the accompanying playlist this week. I forgot about that. So again, we are week 33, episode number 84 of What Did Prince Do This Week? What we know, thanks Anil. And I was so thrilled to see Anil last week because he wasn't able to join us in April for the Erotic City 40 Symposium. So it was a blast to have the 4U crew plus one music snob join us for the Symposium. So, but let's talk about what did Prince do this week before we talk about all things Symposium and and all that. We have to do our 1984 duties. And this week in 1984, Prince had one live show at First Avenue. That's the reason why I'm wearing my First Avenue shirt. This is one of my favorite First Avenue shirts because you got Minneapolis with the star and all that. I'll come a little closer so maybe you can see it a little bit better. And then Prince recorded 3 new songs, but he was in the studio for 4 times. All right, so this is what the week looked like. On Tuesday, Prince and the Revolution performed at First Avenue again. Then on Wednesday, he re-recorded She's Always in My Hair, some basic tracking and mixing. And then on Thursday, Around the World in a Day was born, basic tracking. On Friday, Dance Electric was born. And then on Saturday, Screams of Passion was born. So that week was bananas, in my personal opinion, in terms of Prince weeks go. All Prince weeks are amazing, but that's a pretty extraordinary week. Does anybody have, so Michael or Celie, do you guys have anything to say about this lineup before we get into it? Like just
real quick, and I can't remember, was Purple Rain released at this point yet? The album?
No, I don't think it has been. Can someone correct me on that? Yeah, I think, yeah, it has, because we've already celebrated that. So now we're actually in the 12 inches and stuff, because I'm really bad with dates, as you guys know. And it was July 20 something. I want to give people it was in the US, it was June 25th. And in the UK, it was July 13th. And that's another reason why I get the dates all mixed up, because there's sometimes UK dates, US dates, sometimes they align. What's weird about this one is that it's so far apart, like June 25th versus July 13th, because usually it's like a day apart with some of the other releases. Because if I remember correctly, and let me make sure that I get this right. So like for Come was released in the UK on August 15th of 1994, and then in the US on August 16th. So it got out a day before. So yes. So basically what we're seeing is Prince beginning to, again, sometimes I can't, after a week, I forget how to use StreamYard. You can see that he's about to begin on like the 12 inches. And then he's also getting into Around the World in a Day, because by this point in 1984, he's already recorded Pop Life and he's already recorded America. So then this is the 3rd track for Around the World in a Day. And this is even before he's gone on the Purple Rain tour, which is kind of crazy to think about in that regard, in terms of the timeline. And yes, I mean, most people say that Jill herself says She's Always in My Hair is about Jill Jones. Some people say that's not true, but I mean, who knows? But I'm sticking with Jill personally. And so we're going to get into, yes. So actually, yeah. And that's another thing. In addition to the actual album, you also have to think about the movie. And then the movie was released on July 27th in the USA, even though the Man's Chinese Theater premiere was July 26th. So like you have to really know your dates. And that's the reason why I just go to Prince Vault. One of my favorite books in the world is called The Design of Everyday Things by Donald Norman, and he talks about this concept of knowledge in the world and knowledge in the head. And I rely on a lot of knowledge in the world because there's only so much you can keep sometimes.
One thing, as we're talking about this, when did the movie come out and stuff? I always wonder what it must feel like, the anticipation of having such a massive project getting ready to come out and not knowing what the response is going to be, particularly in his case, like never having had done a movie before. And this is a big, major deal. I always wonder what that feels like. This, like, okay, I got a few more weeks leading up, but it's interesting that he's still going hard doing music, but I always wondered, did he ever have, like, not to say it's anxiety or something, but just like what that felt like to, don't know if it's going to work, but still he's moving forward regardless. I love that.
Yeah, well, there's a story from Alan Lee's where he talks about when they're in the limo actually driving up to the man's Chinese theater, and it seems like Prince was very, had a lot of anxiety, and that's one of the reasons why he was just so resolute in getting through the crowd. Like, he didn't smile. He was just like, get me into the theater. And it wasn't because he was trying to be standoffish, but it was probably because I don't know this to be true, but I'm an introvert, and I know that too many people and a lot of noise and stuff, that's just really kind of freaks me out personally. So I don't know that. But then I really love this comment from Kim. Prince bet on himself. And I think that I think Prince, I don't even know if it's even about believing in himself. I just think Prince just knew, you know what I mean? Like, he just, I don't know that, like, again, like in the movie, he was prophetic in saying, baby, I'm a star. And so, like, he didn't know if that film was going to do well or not, but he I guess he believed, in his heart of hearts, that it would do very well, and it did. Even though I know some of the Warner Brothers executives didn't have that same belief, in his abilities, and I think it's pretty amazing.
Oh, and I remember too, they did have the test screenings, which went exceedingly well. So I guess maybe they did know that the other shit was gonna blow up.
Yeah, but that was like, obviously closer to like when they had a cut of the film. But I'm sure he went through it a lot before they got to that point of the test screenings.
It makes you wonder, did they test screen Cherry Moon? Like,
yeah, they did. They actually did.
Wait a minute.
No, they actually tested. So I talked about this. I talked about this. Actually, I just put up my talk from Prince on screen.
Which is brilliant, by the way. Which is brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I posted it on YouTube, and I actually put it in the accompanying playlist for this week. And the main reason why is because I open and close with the Dance Electric, which is one of my favorite Prince songs of all times. But I think that the Dance Electric's lyrics are more important than they ever have been. That's one thing. But also, I talk in that talk about Howard Bloom was Prince's publicist at the time, and he wrote a book. It's called like Michael Jackson, Einstein and Me. It might be Einstein, Michael Jackson and Me, but anyway, just Google Howard Bloom, and he has several paragraphs about Under the Cherry Moon, and how there was a test screening where Christopher Tracy actually lived, and how actually the audience loved that cut of where Christopher Tracy lives, but Prince was like, no, Christopher Tracy is going to die. So against Warner Brothers' wishes, Prince was the one who wanted Christopher Tracy to die, even though the test screenings were really, really positive when Christopher Tracy lived. And I don't know what else was in that particular, test screening that they may have cut out, because there are multiple edits.
I will, again, this is a completely personal real-time experience. But I have a cousin who to this day argues that same point, because we went to see Under the Cherry Moon the night it premiered. So the night it premieres in Jackson, Mississippi. And what a lot of people forget is, well, I don't know anywhere else. That night it premiered in Jackson, Mississippi, all showings were packed out. Like it was lines wrapped around the theater. We know we want to get. Kiss was a hit single. You know, it was Prince. He was at that part of his life where you just go see Prince. Toward the end of the movie, it was clear with the light chatter that the movie wasn't necessarily a hit, but you know, it was what it was. The moment that gunshot sounds, the entire theater goes silent. I remember this because the people shouting, yes, at the end of the movie, you know, we're gonna have to, and you hear that pow, and literally people were like, what the hell? Like it was like you did now. Of course, at the beginning of the movie, as you doing your talking, as I discussed, that he says Christopher lived for all women, but he died for one. So he gives us the notion that you're going to die. But I think that the death was so unexpected that a lot of people, whether they liked it, didn't like the movie, or how they felt about the movie, I do think that death scene impacted how a lot of people left the movie. Some people thinking the death was over the top. All I can tell you that when that gunshot sounded at that moment, the entire atmosphere or tenor in the theater changed. It was up because at that point we're getting led to the happy ending, right? Tricky and Christopher make up, right? But Mitch said, hey, if we ever make it to that wedding, I'm gonna be your best man. So we are going to get the put the bow on it, all of that. And then, of course, the death. And as those of us who are deep Prince fans, I'm glad Sister Zakiya put that in there. Prince was making art. And in making art, you're making something with symbolic meaning. And often the problem with art and symbolic meaning is that the average popular culture crowd, they just want escapism. They just want a good time. They just want to dance. They just want an hour and 30 minutes of a movie that they can escape. When you start asking people to think, when you start asking people to be nuanced, you lose people. So I do think that a lot of people, along with just the fact that Under the Cherry Moon wasn't Purple Rain 2, let's be really clear. People wanted Purple Rain 2, we get this. And so I think that because of that moment, at that moment, threw people off. I'm sorry. That's it.
I'm sorry.
So yes. So actually, I wanted to respond to a couple comments. So Laura, this is actually what my entire presentation was about from at the Prince on Screen conference, was about not just Under Cherry Moon, but also Purple Rain, as well as Graffiti Bridge. And then I just want to respond quickly to Modern Air. I don't think Prince was obsessed with death either. That's not the point I was trying to make. I was actually, I'm agreeing with you. I think that all of that was for us to live life fully and, accept that there is an end. That's what I personally got out of Prince's songs and the film and all of that.
Yeah,
so,
and to be clear, that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is, if you were a diehard Prince fan, you understood that. If you are a person who were thinking seriously about Prince's lyrics, you understood that. Unfortunately, 75% of people going to see the movie. So that's what we're making. We're making the distinction between us as real Prince fans. We got all that. We got all the premonitions. We had the album. We had Sometimes It Snows. We'd seen Purple Rain. We had all these things. So, but at the same time, the average casual fan wasn't thinking that deeply about Prince's lyrics. The average casual fan wasn't thinking that deeply about his symbolism. So you had the few of us who understood those premonitions, the few of us who understood those, versus 75% of the people who was just looking for a pop song and a pop movie. And unfortunately, they didn't get that. That's it.
All right. So there is a comment from Lee Christian that I want to put up here. And Lee says Christopher Tracy had to die. It's a doomed tragic romance. It would be less romantic. And I mean, so basically like Romeo and Juliet, right? In terms of that thread of romance in the traditional sense, if he didn't die, Prince is into old school black and white movies, and that's how they would do it. I like that comment, Lee. Thank you so much. And okay, Blake Brown says, all the not him, not now, hooting and hollering was a little too mama who burnt the chicken stage play type stuff. It kind of watered down the death scene for me and made it more comedic almost.
You talk about Tricky?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not him. Man, they need to go back and give him a source award for that.
I mean, how did you guys feel about like Tricky saying that at that particular time? Did you think it worked?
Well, let me put it this way. I thought the writing worked. I thought the execution didn't. But so I got the writing. I like looking at the script and looking at everything, the writing worked. Could Jerome have executed it better? Because here's my and let me connect two things. Here's also what I connect. And I know that, like, you know, we talk about Graffiti Bridge. Here's the thing about it. The real worst part about Graffiti Bridge is the ambulance scene. Mm-hmm. Like, the ambulance scene is the most, because here's why. In the ambulance scene, again, sitting in the theater in real time, that's supposed to be the high point of drama. And in the movie theater, in real time, when that ambulance scene happened, the entire movie theater bust out laughing. Because nobody has had an ambulance come in 30 seconds and whisk somebody away. So, like a brother in the theater actually said, ambulance don't come to my hood that quick. So I think that
I'm laughing more if there was people in the theater when you saw it. But
yeah, I was surprised too. But so I think that the scripts, as they were written, I think that the scripts do a better job of articulating the themes rather than the execution. And so, but going back to Brother Dean's question, Brother Dean, I will say this. I don't think it's a question of whether or not there was a test showing. I think that both Under the Cherry Moon and Graffiti Bridge fails from the fact that there wasn't a kind of executive director to say this needs to be reshot. Or an executive director in Graffiti Bridge say, hey, man, the ambulance can't come and go in 30 seconds. Or
sound like it. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was and a director say, hey, man, a director to say, hey, Jerome, I appreciate that. Let's get a second take to see if we can get that a little better. That's it. Go ahead, brother.
I was going to say, I think a lot of it too, and let me be clear, I love these movies for what they are. So, but I think we have to remember too that Prince was, you know, he's like his second and third time directing, motion pictures. As much as he is great at all things he does, you know, he probably could have had a little more assistance on certain things, but you know, that's a part of the charm of those movies as well. I mean, I've seen many movies that have very similar acting by people who are not super, you know, this is not their calling card to be acting all the time. So to go from, you know, so going back to Jerome, from being the guy who's holding the mirror, you know, who sort of gets an opportunity by chance, then he gets in the movie and gets to be in a movie, never being in a movie before, as a small little character in Purple Rain, and then you're starring in a major motion picture. You know, salute to that guy. I mean, so Christopher, damn, you know, to me, that's a part of the charm of the movie. It's funny, unintentionally, but that's why, you know, to me, it's a cult classic, because movies like that, I love movies where the acting is a little funny, but that's just a part of it. Like, you know, so I don't fault it for that, you know,
right,
personally.
But I think, I mean, obviously, I mean, I've always viewed Under the Cherry Moon as a comedy tragedy. Yeah. And I think that especially Tricky's lines were purposely not necessarily comedic, but maybe a little over the top on purpose, because, you know, they were trying to actually balance the comedy with the tragedy. So, you know, obviously when you're doing that, you're taking a chance, and it may or may not work. And it works for some people, and I guess it doesn't work for other people.
Yeah, like to me, it's like when I look at Richard Pryor, he is funny as hell to me. When I see him try to do something dramatic in a movie, it still kind of comes off funny, even though that's not his intention. That's how I know him. So to see Jerome, I just think of him as something funny. You're not going to help but like criticize or really, I'm looking at him like, okay, I don't even expect it to be. This guy's not Denzel. Same way when I see, Eddie Murphy, he'd be serious or something, but I still laugh when I see his face come on screen. Just there's something about him that makes me like want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? So to me, Under the Cherry Moon is a fun movie. At the end of the day, I think that may be the thing. It's such a fun movie to me to see that death. It seems out of place because it's just like, God, we're having a great time. Like I love seeing Prince doing this, and then when you
right,
that's hilarious. That's the part that had me rolling when he took the death fall. But I digress.
Yes, and I want to say thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciate you coming out to the Prince on Screen conference to see my presentation in real life. And then I think, who was it? I think Melvin Rush. We talked about this maybe a month or two ago about Morris Day being Under the Cherry Moon. We had talked about maybe Morris being Christopher Tracy, not necessarily Tricky, because I don't know. It would have been interesting to have Morris and Prince in the same film, but I don't know if Morris could have played Tricky per se. I think it would have had to have been a different character. That's my personal opinion. I think.
Yeah, I mean, Under the Cherry Moon is ultimately a buddy movie, a sidekick movie, and when you're writing a buddy sidekick movie, you got to have the alpha and the sidekick. So that's the question. If you got Morris and Prince, you got a completely different movie. Like that there's, and when I say completely different movie, there's not the sidekick element anymore, because by that time Morris Day is not going to play. Morris Day is not a sidekick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he could work though. I think he wouldn't play a sidekick. He would just play the experienced kind of cat.
Okay, yeah.
Who's I get the ladies, and now Chris, the pretty boy. You gonna have a playboy type of thing. I think it still could have worked. I think Morris being who he is, his presence, you wouldn't have relegated him to thinking he was a sidekick. You would have thought like, it could harken back to what probably the time may have been in their mind when they recorded, like a Hall and Oates type of deal. Like they was just together, but Chris is on his style. Morris is more hard on him or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they still would have been players out there. But I could see it happen.
So our timekeeper is letting us know that we're almost an hour in, and we haven't even really started. What did Prince do this week? So, let's get started. Who wants to? Michael, I'm going to let you read the first one, which is page 382, Tuesday, August 14th.
Let's see. All right. Venue, First Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Capacity, 1,558. Sold out. Prince and the Revolution played their second show of the summer at First Avenue, but this time they were debuting 2 more of the tracks from Purple Rain, outlining an early version of a typical Purple Rain tour set list. Controversy, Let's Go Crazy, Delirious, 1999, Little Red Corvette, Computer Blue, Darling Nikki, The Beautiful Ones, When Doves Cry, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. Parts of Baby I'm a Star Jam are very similar to the recently recorded America, specifically around the 11-minute mark, which contains elements of the America 12-inch. Before the show, Prince worked on multiple tracks that weren't played, including God, Father's Song, Free, and a jam that eventually turned into the Dance Electric.
All right. So the one thing I want to comment, and I'll make my comments quick because we got so much to cover today, is when I'm listening to Purple Rain rehearsals, sometimes I don't know if I'm about to go into America or if I'm about to go into Baby I'm a Star, because they would often use like the same drum track for rehearsals. So I think this is an interesting comment from Duane. Anything else you guys want to say about this before we move on to She's Always in My Hair?
I would only say that the Purple Rain tour broke the pattern of Prince opening the new tour with the song that he closed the old tour. Right. 1999 opens with Controversy. 1992 opens with Controversy. Controversy closed, right? And so that became kind of Prince's calling card to make the transition. Now, what he does with Purple Rain is he immediately goes into 1999 songs. So he opens with Let's Go Crazy, and then immediately goes into Delirious, 1999, Little Red Corvette. And so that was Prince always thinking about making those connections, taking us. He was always making that thematic journey that I'm going to open with what you last saw and then bring you to where I am. Because by the way, folks, I'm not even here anymore. I'm going somewhere else. So I need to get you up to speed with where I'm going to be. So when you see me after this tour, you will be at least close to where I am. That's it, I'll say.
I love that. Question for the people who were around at this time. Was there, when you went to these concerts and you had seen the previous one, was there anybody like, why is he doing these new songs?
No, that's what we were there for the new songs.
I only say that well, because it seems like later he doesn't do the new songs anymore.
Yeah,
when he does his concerts. I was just curious, like if people were questioning, how come I don't hear some of the older stuff? But
I would say that it was kind of, I'll say this, for somebody who started going to see Prince Controversy tour, so Controversy, so 1999, Miss Purple Rain, come back to Hit and Run. It wasn't until after Act One where Prince started doing the hits kind of shows. And so I was one of those people that after 93, that was my only frustration ever with Prince was I didn't like the hit shows. I didn't like, and I'm glad I didn't check out on it. But even like Welcome to America, I wasn't that interested in going simply because I didn't want to see the hits. It was a hits package. Now eventually you go because okay, this is gonna be great. So so I guess for anybody, I asked if anybody else had the problem. That was my own in his entire career. That was my only beef with Prince. Was after 90, well, no, after Gold, because the Gold tour, he was doing the new stuff. But right around Emancipation and after Emancipation, we just started getting a lot of hits. So I would say around 97, 98, 99, somewhere in there, we started getting a lot of hits. And then not only a lot of hits, we started getting a lot of covers. And if you're on my newsletter, you know how the hell I feel about covers. I'm okay with covers in the after show. I don't want covers in the Prince show. That's it.
I'm actually with you on that, CydneeC. I never wanted covers in the actual concert, but I'll take any cover in the after show. But where I definitely don't want a cover is on a Prince album.
Right. Yes.
Because that took up space from another Prince song, which I knew he had countless of them. And like, what was he going to leave off and what we're not, well, like what's still in the vault? So why he got this cover on these albums, you know what I mean? So that was really frustrating for me. So even like, so my first concert was 1999 and then Purple Rain and then Love Sexy and then on and on and on. But even back then when as a little person in my teens, I just wanted to see the songs from the album. So like, even like for Purple Rain, when he was playing 1999 songs, I was like, why aren't you playing Purple Rain songs? You know what I mean? And then the same like for Love Sexy, with the exception of with Love Sexy, I loved hearing the Black Album songs because I didn't think we were ever going to hear those songs again. So, I mean, I thought that was like really, really special. And Kim says, maybe cover as a B-side, but I didn't even want to cover as a B-side because again, I wanted as many Prince songs as possible because I knew he had, thousands of them, right, upon the shelf, so to speak. So, yes.
This is how anti-covers I am, and I'm not even, this is not a cover about the band. This is how anti-covers I am. One of the reasons I hate, well, I ain't gonna say, one of the reasons I was disappointed with Hit and Run Phase 1? I want the album to begin with Prince's singing and not somebody else's singing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna open your album with $1 Million Show, I'm still to this day hoping that there's a version of $1 Million Show that has a Prince vocal. Because the minute I find that, I'm going to take that and replace the one that's on Hit and Run. When I buy a Prince album, I want Prince. I don't mind the side projects. I don't mind these other things. I'm with you on that, Prince. But when I buy a Prince album and I go see a Prince show, I want Prince. I understand that he's putting other people on. He's adding the flavor. And so just the fact that Prince's vocal is not on $1 Million Show, I was out on that album from the very beginning. I'll shut up.
So I just want to make one more comment and I'll stop, because you guys should already know that I'm in love with Willow's Empathogen album. But one thing that kind of bothered me is that actually Willow doesn't open her own album. John Baptiste does. And John Baptiste, he's like amazing. I mean, I love John, but it's just like, why is the first voice that we're hearing on Willow's album John Baptiste? So that's like a parallel to that. Okay, we're going to get on, because I know the timekeeper is like, can you listen to me? I told you guys. So Liegh, if you don't mind reading about She's Always in My Hair on page 383 or Wednesday, August 15th.
All right, wait, hold on. Brother, we love you, you understand? But I'm getting old, player. So, all right. Wednesday, August 15th, 1984. Estimate, She's Always in My Hair. Basic track. Mixing, Flying Cloud Drive, Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince. Engineering, the beloved Susan Rogers. Quote from Susan Rogers: It was done at the Flying Cloud Drive warehouse. When we first started it, I thought it might be for Maserati. End of that quote. The scramble to get ready for yesterday's First Avenue show had everyone working overtime. So today, a more casual day was scheduled for the crew as well as the band. Because of the pending tour, there were crew members working around the warehouse, but the atmosphere was a little slower than usual. Prince decided to take a fresh pass at She's Always in My Hair, a track he'd originally recorded in late December 1983. According to Rogers' quote, he got this incredible guitar tone, played the lead line, and we all flipped for it. When he would really dig in on guitar and really get a great rock sound and play a great line, it's amazing. The band wasn't in, just he and I recording, end quote. Unlike many of the tracks of Purple Rain, which took days and even weeks to complete, Prince once again seemed to want to get this idea on tape immediately. This is probably because he had a very limited amount of time to finish his current projects before the bigger rehearsals and staging for his tour would demand all his time. Quote, he was recording day and night during this period, end quote, Rogers explained to author Jake Brown. She continues, quote, and songs tended to get done very quickly. Nothing Compares to You, America, Condition of the Heart, God, and She's Always in My Hair were recorded then. We would sometimes start them at the warehouse and finish them at his home studio, end quote. Bobby Z mentioned, quote, She's Always in My Hair being recorded completely at Prince's home, but Rogers recalls it differently, quote, I can tell you that we mixed it at the warehouse at Flying Cloud Drive. The reason I know that is because he and I were sitting there and Prince was wearing a scarf over his head. We were both tired, and I finally said to him, in textual quote, can you hear any high end with the scarf over your head? I mean, what are we doing? We were so tired and working so hard, and I think it suffered because of that, end quote. Status. Prince decided he preferred the original version of She's Always in My Hair, and today's recording remains unreleased. That is it.
Oh, wow.
All right. So, I mean, I think we want that version, right? So that would be nice. And I guess the one that we got was the one from that was recorded back in December of 1983 at actually Sunset Sound. So I brought out my vinyl only because when I think of She's Always in My Hair, like this is actually the cover and it's the B-side of Raspberry Beret. And I love the packaging for all the Around the World in a Day singles. I just wish like this was like a gatefold. So like you could, because technically that's the lady and then that's the end of the lady. But when I think of She's Always in My Hair, I actually think about this UK version because this is the one I played the most, I guess. But Also, I don't know. I just really love this Paisley cover, and you can see it's like Paisley Park, and she's always in my hair. So that's like the UK version. All right. So next up is, is there anything you guys, because we've talked about she's always in my hair. So if anyone really wants a deep dive, because we're running out of time, you can go back to one of the December versions of What Did Prince Do This Week, is when we really did like a deeper dive into She's Always in My Hair. But do you guys want to say anything with the quickness about what we just read?
Just to add, you know, it is fascinating that there's another version of that. And, you know, as much as I want to hear it and stuff, I had a pause in my brain to think like, but should I be hearing it? I guess, like, you know, did he not want that out for whatever reasons? And does my desire override his? But I still would love to hear it.
Yeah, and I love this quote from Susan. I think it's so hilarious. Can you hear any high end with that scarf over your head? I mean, what are we doing? That's pretty funny. I'm sure there were a lot of conversations like that when they were tirelessly working. Okay.
Well, Brother Dean, I'll just say quickly, my answer to that is what he said to me the very first time he saw me in person. Somebody got a lot of bootlegs. now, and I want to be clear, we had an hour and a half conversation on the phone, but the first time I walk into Paisley Park, that is the first thing he says to me. Somebody got a lot of bootlegs. And so I say that I think that tongue in cheek, he wasn't as upset about this stuff as we think he may have been. Mm-hmm. Because that didn't seem like he didn't seem angry to me. Now, I'm not saying that he was cool with all the stuff getting out. I'm not saying that. So I would just that whenever I think about like that, my desire to have stuff over what he wanted out, he didn't berate me. He didn't, you know, so that's it. I'll shut up.
Yeah, because if he was really mad, I don't think he would have actually invited you to come in the first place.
Exactly.
Because he knew that you had him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I have some of the lyrics here in the slide deck. And again, you can always get to the slide deck from bookclub.polissolid.com. Go all the way to the end. And if you click on things, you can, you know, see in a little bit more detail than we have time for today, because we're going like super fast. And yeah, I love this comment. Ron and Nicole says he had your house rated. So yeah. And yes, Modern Era. Yeah, Margot Chase, who is an amazing graphic designer who actually passed kind of tragically, like in either a helicopter or plane accident. I can't remember which one. Did the lettering for Around the Roll in a Day. And yeah. All right. And let's see. In addition to that, we're going to move on to Around the Roll in a Day, which is page 384. And I'll take the lead on this one. So let me just get set up really quickly. Thursday, August 16th, 1984, Around the Roll in a Day. Basic tracking, Flying Cloud Drive, Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution. Engineer Susan Rogers. I'm going to skip the quote from Wendy, but hopefully you have your own copy so you can read everything that I'm going to skip, because this is a very long passage for Around the Roll in a Day. So although Around the Roll in a Day was tracked on this date, the song can be traced back to a birthday gift Prince gave to Lisa Coleman's brother, David, who remembers. His management company called me in early June and said, we're calling, representing Prince, and he's calling to wish you a happy birthday. And he's giving you 2 days of lockout, 24-hour-a-day access at Sunset Sound. That's a pretty awesome birthday gift, if I say so. David Coleman recruited Wendy Melvoin's brother, Jonathan, to help on the tracks, including a song Jonathan wrote called BB, which contained a beautiful jazz solo by his father, Mike Melvoin, but the song that stood out was Around the Roll in a Day. We worked it up as a nice kind of demo thing, recalls engineer Bill Jackson. They redid it for Prince's next record, and it was a song that David had written, and it was almost exactly the same as the release version. Prince kept the music, but decided to rewrite the words, retaining only the Around the World in a Day refrain. I wonder, I mean, I'm assuming there had to be like some overdubs and things in terms of like just thinking of like the drum the way that the drums sound in relation to the other tracks on the album. So I don't know if I'm reading this to me, it reads like Prince kept the music exactly the same, but I don't think he kept the music exactly the same because it wouldn't sound like the rest of the record. That's my personal opinion, but I don't know. Maybe somebody disagrees. Okay, Prince had explained, I'm skipping a paragraph. Prince explained that the sessions were a gift and he didn't expect anything in return, but David wanted to share what he and Jonathan had created, and they gave a copy to their sisters. Lisa Coleman remembers David and Jonathan had sent us a cassette of 2 new songs. I had my Pink Salmon.
There we go.
Mercury Montclair with a badass stereo cassette deck. And to make a long story short, Wendy and I loved the new songs, and we pulled into the parking lot playing the tape. We called Prince out to come listen. When he got to the chorus of Around the Rolling Day, Prince got a look on his face like he'd seen a ghost. The song ended, and I think he ejected the tape and took it saying, "Can your brother come out here?" He was floored by it, according to Wendy Melvoin. That's how the album kind of kick started. Susanna Melvoin also recalls Prince's enthusiasm for the track. It was really exciting to hear him say, "I want to do this song of David's and Jonathan's. Let's do this," and have David go out there and play on it. And it was the beginning of that. It was beautiful. Hearing this song altered Prince's plans for the next Revolution project, pointing him in a different direction. After the August 14th concert, Prince conveyed to David how much he enjoyed his song. But as mentioned earlier in the book, it wasn't going to be his next project. He must have changed his mind, and management or something called me and said that Prince wanted to work on Around the Rolling Day. Almost immediately, Prince scheduled time to record the track with the Revolution, but also with the members of Wendy and Lisa's extended family who worked on the demo. Prince was very excited about the song, according to Susan Rogers. At this time, the Colemans and the Melvoins were a big part of his life. He asked Jonathan and David to bring their instruments and join him in the studio. In addition to tracking the song during the session, the band spent time rehearsing, which helped the track evolve. Even in the process, the song began with just the sound of drums programmed by Bobby Z. A 10-minute rhythm track was recorded with David playing darbuka, while Prince pointed at Jonathan to play a tambourine pattern. Additional elements were added, including a police whistle, cello, finger cymbals, and an oud. Prince expressed interest in adding some of these new sounds to his music. He may have had the song in his head, but he was willing to try to build it with elements from outside influences. That was another moment that he was so charming and unassuming, David explains. He was standing up on the drum set, hitting the cymbal with a police whistle in his mouth, going, DDD. He never used that track, but that's just a moment I remember fondly. Prince expressed his desire for the chorus to sound like the demo, so he had the Colemans and Melvoins replicate their singing as closely as possible. He was going to call my eldest sister, Cole, out, remembers David, but I couldn't get a hold of her. The Revolution included in the vocals were Matt and Bobby, and Lisa and Susanna and Jonathan. I'm a little happier with his version of the background vocals. My demo background vocals are a little darkish, and his are a little more flowery, so it was for the good. Wendy confirmed that the final call was always Prince's when it came to who was invited to participate in the session. Our involvement was obviously important, but you have to remember that when he hires you as part of a band, not as a solo artist. Whatever Prince saw as a direction to go in, we'd follow him and hopefully be able to contribute something as it evolved. For me, that was so exciting. Anytime I hear or read so exciting, I just hear Morris Day go, so exciting. Okay, because it just seemed like there wasn't anything that couldn't be done. We could do everything. He's got a position to see whatever there is out there for him to see. It was the right situation for all of us. None of us had any money, but he had made a lot of money. So anything he wanted to do, he could afford to do. And I'm going to skip the quote from Wendy to save time. All right. Several versions of the song were recorded, ranging from 3.5 minutes to 6 minutes in length. The multiple performances shared most elements, the main change being the addition of the synth flute at the beginning of the track. The flute sounds utilized in that song specifically were all DX7 flutes, according to Matt Fink. He added the delay in the studio. There weren't any synthesizers that had onboard effects in those days. Oh, that's crazy to think about. There weren't any synthesizers that had onboard effects in those days. You had to have outboard pieces running on them, so we would use standard Boss pedals for those effects. The bass would also be very prominent. That's crazy to think about. Okay, I'm sorry. The bass would also be very prominent in at least one of the versions, but not in the release mix of the song, where it was muted, much like it was done for When Doves Cry. A quick mix was done at the end of the session with Rogers, who says there's a misconception about the work an engineer puts into creating his mixes after it is recorded. I have heard from so many people in the music industry that Prince does it himself. He didn't do it himself. I was there, and the stuff that he mixed with me sounds definitely differently than the stuff he mixed with anybody else. Prince likely understood the impact this track would have on his next album and had the opening lyrics reproduced in his Purple Rain tour book, which was being designed during this period. This addition to the tour book was typical of Prince, who had a habit of presenting enigmatic riddles and then deciding if and when the meaning would eventually be revealed. When he did this, Prince seemed to be writing his career as a mystery novel and inviting others to look for the answers and cryptic clues that would hopefully make sense when viewed backward. Susan Rogers felt that Prince saw the song as a cornerstone for his record. He seemed so taken with this new sound and direction that he would eventually remix it with her and during separate sessions with David Leonard. Status: Around the World in a Day, 3 minutes and 29 seconds, was the title track for Prince's next album. The alternate versions remain unreleased. Various sources have contradicted the actual recording date for Around the World in a Day, but August 16, 1984 seems the most likely based on interviews and personal notes from those involved. The other possible date is September 16th, 1984. All right. Anything you guys want to say about Around the World in a Day? See, Liegh, I feel like you're ready.
I have a question. This is essentially the third song recorded for the album, right? We get American Pop Life already recorded, right?
Yep, that's right.
I want to become asking a question. I'm not contradicting. I'm asking. So what I'm trying to understand is, and maybe I'm reading it wrong or not hearing it properly, so y'all can let me know if I'm hearing it properly. If this is the third song recorded for the album, how is this the song that's changing Prince's direction for what his next album will be?
I think it's because of Jonathan and David's contributions and the instruments that they were using in terms of the oud and, like all of the things that make Around the World in a Day, the song Around the World in a Day. And he kept using those things, like in Raspberry Beret, like he would. Okay. You know what I mean? So like the way that I'm thinking about it, Liegh, and I could be totally wrong. I mean, well, first of all, he named the album Around the World in a Day, right? Okay. Right. Yeah. Instead of like Pop Life or even America. But also, I think, Prince often recorded albums in between other albums that he never released. You know what I mean? So like I think the key part of this particular chapter, I do think that Prince was really excited about these new sounds, that Jonathan and David were kind of, giving to him. And I think he recorded, because like in reading this, it makes me wonder why America wasn't released as a B-side on one of the Purple Rain singles. Mm-hmm. More so than Pop Life. I don't know why, but America in particular, I don't know necessarily if it would have worked. But the thing is, it's like so darn long, like 20 plus minutes, that you knew that he had to have been excited about a song that he's going to record like 21 minutes of. So like, why did he sit on America? But then I think since Around the World in a Day, because Pop Life came first, then America, and now we have Around the World in a Day. I think by hearing this song and then recording it, it seems like this cemented that, this is my new album. I can see where this could be, just because he named the album that, and there's elements that Jonathan and David introduced that are sort of
throughout the rest of the album.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That makes sense.
Yep. I love this comment. Those opening flutes make me think of someone yawning, waking up. Love that comment. Purple Cat Confetti. And then we got Arthur coming on. I'm just bringing you right on because we were just in a question, and I want to hear your take on this. So we just read about Around the Rolling Day, which Prince recorded this week in 1984. And earlier this year, he's already recorded Pop Life and 20 plus minute version of America. And CydneeC was just asking, like, you asked your question, CydneeC, or so basically, like, why? Because like in the chapter, it's proposed that Around the Rolling Day was the song that was originally, written by Jonathan Duane.
And so my question was, and Prof. Duff, I think she answered it. She gave me I get what she's saying, but my question was, thinking about it, if there were two songs written before, so Pop Life and America already written, how is it that Around the World in the Day is getting the biggest credit for the direction Prince was taking? And of course, Prof. Duff says that she's looking at it because there are sounds that originate in Around the World in a Day that then carry through the rest of the songs in the album. And I get, so that's plausible. So that's plausible. Only thing I would add, so I agree with what Prof. Duff is saying. I would only add that that's true. I can take that. But I think that there were things that Prince was aware of himself. Like, Temptation, for all of what we say, Temptation is the first real Jimi Hendrix Prince song. Prince is not doing Jimi Hendrix before Temptation. Now, but what's interesting is Temptation is a Jimi Hendrix song in that Jimi Hendrix was a blues player. And that's the thing that people miss. If you are calling Temptation a Jimi Hendrix song,
right,
you have to then understand by the phrasing of Temptation that Jimi Hendrix himself called himself a blues player. And so songs like Temptation are also, for me, songs of Prince calling back his childhood love of things that predated him. And so it's not that I want to not give credit to people introducing Prince to certain sounds, but I also want to give Prince as much credit for taking sounds from his own past that he knew, and that is just as embedded in the Around the World Day album. And people don't give Prince and Jimi Hendrix and blues and those things as much credit for the album as they do for the people who supposedly introduced Prince to things that he never heard of. That being said, I do like Prof. Duff's description and what she told me, and I'll shut up. Go ahead, Arthur. I'm sorry.
So, jumping in your discussion, and forgive me for my tardiness, but because I got two professors on the line, but was the original question within the context of how we as the fans and the listening audience are tracking Prince's progressive movements, or was the question a little bit in the context of the success of the album and the wider, public journalist view of Around the World in a Day as the follow-up to Purple Rain?
No, it was in the question of these two people being given the majority of credit for the direction of the album.
Winnie and Lisa, and then
by
extension.
Oh, Jonathan and David.
Okay.
And David Coleman.
Okay. So I the way that I read it in the book, my take was Prince liked what he heard, what they were doing, and he wanted to incorporate that into his music because he was ready to do something different. And that goes to my being stuck on the Prince working into timeline theory. To what CydneeC was talking about, to his point about Prince being associated with Jimi Hendrix, because that was always like a press thing. That was never a Prince thing. Prince's inspiration, that he said, was Carlos Santana. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't like Hendrix. That doesn't mean that he wasn't exposed to Hendrix or Buddy Guy or B.B. King through the music of his parents and what Andre Simone was listening to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Santana was Prince's guy, and that's who he worked on as far as sound. Small tangent, but when we talked about the Triple Threat Tour, I was fortunate enough to give a presentation about Prince's rock aesthetic, and I was talking about Des Dickerson in the forefront. But as part of that conversation, I was leading into the history of the Black guitar and the Black guitarists, and Hendrix, no fault of his own, when he went to England and played in the clubs in 1966 and early 1967, and Eric Clapton and Paul McCartney and Lennon and Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck and all of these people wanted to go to this club to hear this Black man play guitar, and they were so blown away because they thought that they were at the forefront of the music. They, and I'm using air quotes, they adopted Hendrix into their thing. So when Hendrix made records and was lauded, he was lauded within the aesthetic of British blues guitar. And that kind of disassociated him from blues guitarists. Jimi Hendrix showed up in London playing like that. Right. Which meant that he'd been playing like that with Little Richard. He'd been playing like that with the Isley Brothers. Ernie Isley was still wanted to be Jimi Hendrix.
Say that twice.
So Prince being associated with Jimi Hendrix by the press and, you know, the general public who was kind of into, you know, rock in that kind of way. Because Prince was associated with Jimi Hendrix, Prince got looped up into that channel. And so by de facto, he's disassociated with the blues. That was kind of the overarching point that I wanted to make about that. So the other side of it, I don't have a problem with Prince being influenced by Jonathan Melvoin and David Coleman with what they were doing, because that was something that Prince wasn't doing, that Prince thought was cool, that Prince then wanted to incorporate into his sound and move on. But I do think that there's always this sense of, because Prince can do it all himself and do it all so well, and do it so well for other people, such that you think they're different groups doing their own thing, but he's creating all of it. You know, there's always a great opportunity to talk about how Prince didn't do this, or how Prince is not the superhero that we all think that he is. And you know, and so yeah, it does become a problem, because the story of Prince gets diluted by all of these contributors who were more influencers than contributors. They're distinct differences, but they don't always fall into a box, right? There may have been some times where Wendy and Lisa really contributed to what was going on that Prince was playing. But then there were other times, maybe it was the next day, maybe it was 5 hours later, that Wendy and Lisa contributed to what Prince was already doing. And that's okay, you know? But a lot of times it's press and media, and those perceptions that we get from press and media that influence the way that we think about how influence and contribution stand alone and not blend together. Right. Last thing, and then I'll shut up. 1986, Rolling Stone, the cover was Prince, Wendy, and Lisa. The article was about really what Wendy, Lisa, and Prince were doing in the studio, what was coming up. But the article was really about them. But they made the cover because Prince was with them on the cover. And for me, in real time, I wasn't confused by that or anything, but I was a little disappointed because I actually thought that Prince was more involved in the story, but he wasn't so much. But I mentioned that cover because I think that's an excellent example of what we're talking about, this blending of influence and contribution. But in reality, all of those songs, or like 90% of them, you know, were written by Prince. Influenced or not, contribution or not.
Right. And
you know what I'm saying?
I just want to clarify, because you said contributed twice when we were doing that, Wendy and Lisa.
Oh, forgive me.
What you meant was in some cases they contributed, and then in other cases they influenced.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I was wondering if I actually said that twice. But yeah, you know, sometimes it's an influence, sometimes it's a contribution. You know, and I'm saying that, you know, hey, you know, that's okay. But it you know, it gets murky. And without him being here, you know, it's really easy to insert a narrative that kind of happened but didn't really exist wholeheartedly in the way it's being told.
Okay, so go ahead, Michael.
I'm going to keep it really quick, just to add on to what you're saying. To me, when I think of this period and these comments that have been made of these songs, I always just feel like, you know, it was just a moment, you know, that particular day or maybe those couple of days. But when I listen to the album, I'm like, okay, I like the sound. But to me, I always go by, well, how did he play those songs? You know, how was he presenting this stuff to you when you went to go see him? And, you know, I use that America video and some of the concerts we've seen of him playing these songs from the parade. The way they came off at that point, they didn't come off as like they was trying to do some, you know, how people throw the Beatles word, all these. They came off as like, no, they was jamming. Like these were funked up songs. Prince,
yeah, chunk music, the Paisley sections,
more soulful and quote unquote black than you may had expected. So to me, it's just like with any other producer. Yeah. Oh, you got another vibe that we don't have. Yeah, Brent, come into the studio. I'm saying, let me get some of that energy. You know, still ladies 808s on it or whatever. But yeah, okay, we got a little bit of this sound to it, but it's still the same thing. Like you didn't really change nothing. It's just you added some flavor to it, you know. So to go and try to sort of make it seem like it's, you know, oh, I changed the game, I changed his sound. Nah, you just offer. To me, I just look at it like any other producer. Like if it was Dre and they have other people come in and, oh yeah, okay, oh, you got those drum sounds, cool. Let me mess with that. Or Kanye, but it's still Dre, Kanye, it's still they genius. You know, you just added a little something to it, but no one comes and tries to say, well, oh, I changed Dre's sound. Nah, there's a certain aesthetic that he gonna put his stamp on. Same with a Quincy Jones. You know, people not coming in saying, "Oh, I changed Quincy when I." No, you did. Like that's Quincy Jones. He know all them styles. He put his stamp on that. And to me, Prince is no different. Like
Prince would bring in people that he knew could produce this sound for this artist, for this.
But project. He still put his thing on it. It's still my lens. And I think the same way with Prince. Like, dude was a genius. And like somebody said, almost like you don't want him to seem like he knows everything. But no, he did. You know what I'm saying? Like he put in the work. So he may have been happy or thrilled with, oh, I ain't never thought of, oh, okay, cool. Now let me freak that. You know, and lastly, didn't Jay-Z have a line where he said you made it a hot line or something? Yeah. I made it a hot song. Nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop. So
yeah. Prince has always been a band-oriented artist. He's always developing bands and putting them out front with him.
Right.
Because of just what we're talking about.
All right, so a couple things, and we're so behind, but I got to try to catch up. First of all, thank you, Rodney, for putting that. Today is actually Lisa's birthday.
Rodney, what's up?
So happy birthday to the one and only Lisa Coleman. It's really important. And then the other thing, which I forgot, because I had to thank you, Christina, looking at the album, because I have it right here. The beautiful Around the World in a Day. And if you actually look at, I don't know if I'll be able to do this and if you guys can actually see it, but I'll try to get as close as I can. Hold on, let me.
We can't.
Do you still have the sticker on that?
No, I don't still have my sticker. I still have the sticker, but not on it. So you probably won't be able to see it because it's too. But it does say that Around the World in a Day was written by Prince John L. Nelson. And I mean, it actually says David Coleman, John L. Nelson, and Prince. And Christina's asking, why John L. Nelson?
Does
anybody know?
Wouldn't he sometimes add credit to work so that people could get paid and have a revenue stream from that work?
Yes.
Not to say that his dad didn't, create a bridge, or that Prince used a bridge, or some sort of melodic structure that his dad used. But I'm just saying, like.
Yes, that was my argument for orgasm, for vanity. No, I'm not being funny. Because
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Because she was like going to the hospital every single week, for her transfusions and stuff like that. So that was my personal thought. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I would also say that understanding that, again, it's just me, thinking, Prince is thinking thematically. It works for the continuity from Purple Rain, Father's Song into Around the World in a Day. The whole redemption narrative, the whole transformational narrative that John L. is still writing songs with Around the World in a Day. So I always looked at it as a kind of continuation of the narrative, as well as he could have possibly had some effect. Because I feel like this: if you're gonna make your daddy dress up in them damn Purple Rain suits, he should get a check for that. That's how I feel about it. Give your daddy a check. You made him dress up in them suits. He should get a check just for them suits alone. That's it. I said.
And daddy had baddies around, like.
There you go.
I see. Personally, I don't care if his dad wrote them songs at night. That's his dad. And if he want to put his dad up on it and get some money, I ain't got no problem with it. Like,
right. And everybody's putting in the chat. Yeah, John L. Nelson got credit for the latter as well on Around the World in a Day, for sure. Okay, so
that actually impresses me more about Prince than almost anything.
Yeah.
That everything that is supposedly went through with his dad, that he put his dad on there like that. I don't even question with whether he wrote them or not. I'm gonna just say he did, but even if he didn't, I'm more impressed that Prince had that type of mindset. Yo, I'm bringing my dad into this. Just the way, to me, the way it looks is amazing. Whether or not it's just the way it looked is.
All right. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to read the Dance Electric really quickly, and then I'll have someone actually read the last one for Saturday, August 18th, which is Screams of Passion and the Dance Electric, only because this is super long and I'm going to chop it up. And we have more guests coming at 1:30, and I want to make sure that we don't go over too much. All right, so Friday, August 17th, 1984, we're on page 387, children. And then, let's, good morning, children. Okay, all right. The Dance Electric, basic tracking, Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Susan Rogers. I'm going to skip the quote by Eric Liegh, even though I don't want to. And I'm going to go to the second paragraph on page 388 that says, the Dance Electric was another in a series of tracks that was created by Prince and the Revolution, playing over a repetitive groove. Parts of it had been worked on while preparing for the August 14th show. We jammed all the time at sound checks, says Matt Fink, and at rehearsals, there was always a warm-up period where the band would just flow with ideas and stuff. And every once in a while, something would just hit Prince and he'd take it and do something with it, which I think is kind of key to the conversation we just had. Dr. Fink said he'd take it and do something with it, meaning Prince would take it. All right, I'm going to hop over to page 389, and I'm going to start with, actually, I love that Coleman, who celebrated her 24th birthday on this date, because we're celebrating her birthday today, posted on wendyandlisa.com that this song was one of my faves, and Eric Liegh glowingly told his brother Alan how impressed he was when he'd heard the track. And coming from Eric Liegh, you know that if Eric Leeds is impressed with the Prince track, you know this is a good track. All right. And the quote says, Eric came home from the session raving about this new jam they had done. Man, this is the SHIT. And he played me the tune and I went, what? Oh my God. In retrospect, maybe it wasn't the greatest tune they ever did, but actually I think it's one of the greatest tunes ever recorded. But at the time it was smoking. Within a few days, Alan Leeds was talking to Prince about how this song would show everyone how funky he could be when it was finally released. Prince responded, Michael, can you do the Prince part?
I can't do that track. I can't do that song.
Leeds was in shock, and when he asked about it, Prince confided,
it's not for me. I can't do a song like that.
To this day, Leeds confessed, I don't understand what he meant, and neither do I. But maybe we'll talk about it. Although Prince had decided it wouldn't fit on one of his own albums, he apparently liked the Dance Electric so much that he found a spot for elements of it during the Purple Rain tour. A segue containing material lifted from the Dance Electric was created in October to bridge Darling Nikki and the Beautiful Ones. When the Melvoin singing on the chorus was played backward and then overdubbed with Prince saying, I'm so confused, don't be confused, there's only one Lord Jesus. I'm so confused, I'm sorry. I'll be good, I promise. If you believe, he'll forgive you. I'm so confused, the beautiful ones. You always seem to lose 2 times. Status. An approximately 12-minute version of the Dance Electric was given to Prince's childhood friend, Andre Simone, and they worked on it the following year for release on Simone's AC album. It was edited down 5 minutes and 44 seconds, but otherwise the track basically stayed the same, with Simone adding his vocals at Ocean Way Studios in Hollywood. Several versions of the song were mixed. Some were released, a single version, 3 minutes and 59 seconds, long version, 5 minutes and 31 seconds, and the extended version, 10 minutes and 24 seconds. While multiple versions were created, 11 minutes, 32 seconds, 11 minutes, 41 seconds, and 12 minutes and 3 seconds that remained unreleased. The song peaked at number 10 on the Billboard Black Singles Chart and number 8 on the Billboard Hot Dance Disco Club Play Chart for Andre Simone. It did not chart the Billboard Hot 100. An early version of the Dance Electric with Prince's lead vocals, 11 minutes and 30 seconds, was also released on the Purple Rain Deluxe Expanded Edition CD set in 2017. Prince would continue to write about the approach of the year 1999 and his music, including his 1991 song Horny Pony, which proclaimed itself as a new dance for the next 8 years. Now, first of all, I want to say hello, Jesse, and thank you so much for reminding us about the Dance Electric on Jimmy Kimmel in 2012. It's mind-blowing. And I actually have a lot of live versions of the Dance Electric by Andre Simone in the accompanying playlist this week. So definitely check them out. The Dance Electric is by far one of my, it's probably my top 10 Prince songs of all times. And, you know, Prince wrote a lot of songs. So that's actually saying a lot. And I feel like we're not going to give it justice because we're running out of time and it's really, really painful. But again, I put my talk from the Prince on Screen conference, and maybe you'll understand a little bit of why that song means so much to me if you watch the talk that I gave at that conference. It's like 15 minutes. So anything you guys want to, and yes, Prince's version of Dance Electric is amazing. It's just such an amazing song. It never gets old. It's one of those tracks, like every time every time I put it on, I just say Prince is a genius. It just reminds me of how genius Prince is. And I love Andre's version, and it's really, really an amazing song. So what do you guys have to say? Because I'm just going to keep saying amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yeah, I just want to add, you know, just seeing that quote that is even bolded in this book where Prince says, I can't do that song. That's not for me. I can't do a song like that. Man, that is so interesting to me for him to be thinking like that at that point, because listening to it and thinking at it now, that song to me is for what I would have thought Prince was at that time. That's pure Prince in my mind. That sound, what he's talking about, it would be like the most obvious choice to be, this is the album opener for the album that came after 1999, or maybe Purple Rain or something. It would be like, you know, it'd be like an obvious, no question smash. Like, You know what I mean? Like, you know, they would start and he was giving you a new outlook. You know what I mean? It's just like same way like controversy. It sort of gives you an overview of, you know, this is what we on right now. And to me, I feel like Dance Electric was one of those ones that would have set the tone for like, yo, this is the new experience. We on this, you know, and it's funked out. And it's, you know what I mean? Just everything about it to me screams like that would have been the first one out the gate. Like the album would have been called that or something. So to hear, but the main thing is to say, for him to feel like that ain't me. Like I can't put that out. And so it's interesting. Like, is this a time where he decides I'm about to really go this way? I'm not going to give you what you expect of me or what you, even though it's like, dude, this a banger. What do you, nah, I almost, you know, it's like, it feel like, is that when he started doing that kind of stuff? It was like, nah, we ain't even going to put that out. That going to go on the shelf or that's going to go to Andre or whoever. But it just seemed like that would be the obvious song that wouldn't be no question. Like that would be a banger. Even if that was a 12-inch, it would be like on some Erotic City type shit. Like people would have been banging that. So it's just interesting that he felt like at this time, nah, I'm not doing them funk jams out the gate. Give to somebody else, I guess. It's always wild to me. It's interesting that I wonder why he started thinking like that. Like he can't be that funk dude or something.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I did just real quick, Celie, before you jump in. I just want to say hello to Jason. And again, if you listen to my presentation for the Prison Screen, it's all about the first line of the Dance Electric, which is, you know, look, the world is falling, right? And then you get, like the rhythm of this. Yeah, I just want I want to even go into it, but yeah, it's really
it's the mind of the same guy who wrote 1999. You can see he's still on that. It's like Prince Umar, you know what I'm saying? Like he was on that kind of like, oh shit.
And I think that what you said is spot on. I also think that what TP put in the chat is spot on. I'm going to ask Brother Dean and Brother Turnbull 2 questions, and I want y'all to say no to both questions. Brother Dean, are you wearing a black shirt?
No.
Brother Dean, do you like the color black?
No.
Brother Turnbull, are you wearing a red shirt?
No.
Brother Turnbull, do you like the color red?
No.
That's the hell that Prince's statement is saying. He's saying, as Brother Dean appropriately, that song is not for me. That song is you. But taken in context, when Prince is saying that song is not for me, I'm going right back to Brother Turnbull's point about working in 2 timelines. We all think that Dance Electric would have been a banger, but let me ask you a question. Does Dance Electric work on either Parade or Sign of the Times?
Right, it keeps him in the Purple Rain lane. Keeps
Exactly.
him in
So at the time of recording Dance Electric, he had already moved on. It wasn't about question not whether it's a banger. Wasn't a question about whether or not we wanted it, that we would have loved it. And I'm so glad that Brother Turnbull has raised this notion about working in 2 timelines. But it shows the genius of Prince. This dude has written what would be a once-in-a-lifetime monumental hit for everybody else. But his point is, I'm already past this point of genius I've already created. Because it's not going on Parade. That it would destroy the whole floor. It's definitely not going on Sign of the Times. So it had to be given to somebody else because it had to have life. He was smart enough to know this song must have, because that whole thing, this is not me. Yes, it is. The lyrics in that song is everything Prince had been doing up to that and what he continued doing. That I would argue that the lyrics in Dance Electric is one of the most atypical Prince lyrics of his entire career. And yet, sonically, I'm already past this. And to be a person to say, this is not me anymore. He's saying, this is not me anymore. This is not where and again, I'll just end on my saying, because I keep reiterating, because I'm just so glad that Brother Turnbull brought it up. This is the perfect example of working in two timelines where I'm already beyond where I'm working. I'll shut up.
You bring a great points, because I think of the songs that we hear years later, and then like, oh, he had a version of that song back in the day. Strange Relationship. Some of the songs on Sign of the Times are old songs, sort of redone, Feel You Up and things of that nature. So that's I could kind of see that. I see what you're saying.
All right, I'm going to try to keep it moving, but I do want to show the actual 12-inch for the Dance Electric, because Andre Simone did record it and release it. And we've been talking about the video, which is a pretty incredible video, in the chat. And that's also in the accompanying playlist. So can I have someone read our last Saturday, August 18th with the quickness?
I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
That's God, right?
Nope, it's Saturday, August 18th. Should be the Screens of Passion.
Screens of Passion. I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Basic Tracking, Dance Electric, Overdub, Flying Cloud, Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, Producer Prince, Family, quote, Paul Peterson.
Skip the quote.
Okay. The Family Project was a chance to showcase Prince's new sound, but when Screams of Passion was recorded, it was one of only 2 tracks on the final version of the album that didn't feature Eric Leeds on sax, the other being River Run Dry. When Prince recorded alone in the studio, his routine was fairly simple, and often it started by contacting Susan Rogers. Quote, he would call me in the morning of the day we were going to record and say what he needed set up, whether it was live drums or drum machine, whether he wanted all his stuff in the control room or out in the studio. And sometimes he would just call and say, can we record? End of quote. In the first version of the track, Prince didn't have an ending for the song. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So he stopped with his comment, quote, oh, baby, don't do that, which Peterson would eventually duplicate while replacing the vocals. Not so loud, baby. When the song was mixed at a later undocumented session, it was faded early, eliminating that section. It is likely that this track was started during the evening of August 18th, but the session went just past midnight, so it was probably finished sometime in the morning of August 19th. Additional overdubs were likely done to the Dance Electric during this session with others, including Jill Jones and possibly Susan Moonsey, adding background vocals. Status: The Screams of Passion, 5 minutes 26 seconds, was edited for release as a single, 3 minutes 10 seconds in 1985. Claire Fisher wrote the orchestral part for the track later in the fall. An extended version, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, was created as well, and Fisher's additions can be heard at the beginning of the track. The release version peaked at number 63 on the Billboard's Hot 100 chart.
So really quickly, I just want to show that, like, I love this cover. This is a Screams of Passion 12-inch, and I really, really, really love the cover. This is such a beat up version. I don't know if this is my original copy or not, but obviously pink was the theme, and I love this picture of Jerome. He looks like he's up to something, and Jelly Bean looks so great, and St. Paul, and look at Eric Leeds. And Susanna, I just love, and you have the lyrics on the back and all of that. All right, so I think it was Michael who wanted to speak.
Yeah, I just want to say Screams of Passion is one of my favorite Prince songs, period. I love hearing him sing this song. And I think one of the things I'm going to start doing, not to say I haven't done it before, but I'm going to really start listening to these songs in the context of when they were made, as opposed to the context of when they were released to us, because this song is just beautiful to me. Like, I can sit here and say, what would it have sounded like if it would have happened if he came out with it, but that didn't happen. But what I can do is marvel at, listening to these songs in the sequence of how they were made and be like, wow, he was on this same time he was doing this and doing this. That's not how I heard them originally, but this is what his artistry was. Damn the confines of the music business and how packaging works, and these ideas of how he wanted to present these different bands, just in terms of being like, if I could have been in the studio to hear, like, whoa, you just recorded some shit right there, man. And then you might not hear it years later, but I think it's just interesting to hear these songs in the times, in the orders that he actually recorded them. So like listening to Pop Life at a time when you just finished listening to some other song that came so early. That's how I marvel at Prince. It's just like, God damn, he was coming up with this great stuff in the context of his own real life timeline, but they were, you know, it's interesting to see where they end up, you know, later, or somebody else singing them. But this is just a beautifully brilliant song. And there's like the rehearsal version of this. I forget which one it's on, where he's playing this and he's playing the piano along with it. It's just fantastic.
Right.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So I agree with every single thing that you said, Michael. Screams of Passion is one of my favorite songs. I really love the 12-inch version in particular. That's the reason why I showed it, because of just, you know, all the orchestration from Claire Fisher. But because we're running out of time, I want to, because we got 2 more guests that we need to bring on, and I want to be respectful of their time. But this was some lyrics that were signed by Prince. You see in the bottom right-hand corner at one of the auctions that has been going on past few years with some handwritten lyrics. But this doesn't look like Prince's. The signature looks like Prince, but I don't think the handwriting does. But I could be wrong. And if anyone remembers that auction and you have a link to it, please let me know. And I thought this was interesting. These are the lyrics to the Dance Electric on Cavallo, Ruffalo, and Fargnoli, a letterhead, which is great. So, you know, you got good morning, people. Take a look out your window. The world is falling. It's almost time to go. And so I think this is kind of brilliant. I think this is when they sent it to Andre. And I already told you about the talk I gave at Prince on Screen, Images and Ideology by the International Center for Prince Studies back in Minneapolis. Is in the accompanying playlist. And I bookended with the lyrics from Dance Electric. And this week, so far in 1984, Prince has written 46 songs and has had 85 studio visits, 2 live shows total, both at First Avenue. These are all the songs that he has tracked, but this week alone, we talked about Round Rolling Day, Dance Electric, and Screams of Passion. And those are the 2 performances, June 7th on his birthday show and August 14th, both at First Avenue. And really quickly, we have Arthur on for a couple reasons. First of all, I want you to talk about entry points for us.
Well, thank you very much. So entry points is actually a side project that I started actually in 2015 when the Music Snobs was taking a kind of a long hiatus. And I began a show where I talked to about 12 guests over a period of time, including Nicolay. We had Karen Gabay and Kavito Clark from OK Player to talk about journalism and press roundtables and things like that. And I was trying to come up with something that I wanted to do to kind of keep in shape as being a host of the Music Snobs, which can be a rowdy, raucous, given the co-hosts that I have. And so I recently decided to relaunch Entry Points with a little more focus to it. It is a show, it's a conversational based show that has the premise of how did you get into fit in? I was inspired by the Talking Heads song, Once a Lifetime, where David Byrne talks about, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? How did I arrive at where I am? Sometimes we know what we want to do with our life from the beginning and we work toward that goal. Some of us, this guy, kind of find ourselves in positions and I find myself sometimes in the live stories of my guests. So Miles Marshall Lewis, he agreed to sit down with me and have a conversation about his professional journey. He even brought up something that I actually had not heard, and I had scanned the Duff and Dean show when Miles was on. He was talking about the interview that he did with Prince that wound up being a cover story for Ebony magazine in 2015. Did he tell you that he actually recorded Prince in that interview?
No, I don't think he did. Or did he?
You asking me?
Yeah. Did he say that? Did he tell you that he recorded Prince?
Yes. Do you
He
remember?
did. Okay. He kind of, yeah. And I wasn't sure. And he talked about that, which was something that I missed. I just hadn't known that. But the queen here, D'Angela, she sat down with me and talked about what she does professionally at NYU as a professor and as an assistant to one of the associate provosts at NYU. I also have Jason Orr. He would be my next show that comes up next week. And Jason talks about the origins of Funk Jazz Cafe. He just celebrated 30 years of that festival. We kind of got into a little bit of how a festival that has spanned for 30 years isn't recognized in the same kind of way that Lollapalooza or even Lilith Fair have been recognized. They made a whole movie about Freaknik, but here is a festival in Atlanta that is the breeding ground of all of these great artists that we know now, Outkast and Erykah Badu and D'Angelo and Michelle and Diego Cello. A lot of them got some of their starts and build up some of their audience at Jason's festivals. So we're available anywhere and everywhere you can find RSS feeds, but we are also in Apple Podcasts, and we are also in Spotify. I'm starting audio only, but I do have video recordings of almost all of my interviews, and I'll start rolling that out soon, hopefully by the end of the month. I'm a little not shy, but I don't always like the way, you never get used to the way that you sound. So it's even worse to get used to the way that you look when you're on camera. So, but entry points.
Well,
Nice. Let me check this out, man.
yeah, I hope that you post a video. I mean, I think it's.
Oh, I will. It's done. You know how much work I put into that? Listen, I got to do it just because of that. I can't waste all that work.
I just found the website, and so is it okay if in Friday's newsletter I put the link to the interview in the newsletter?
Yes, because I have my logo formatted for that header. It's a soft launch on purpose, but I'm gearing up because we've already started recording for the next season of the Music Snobs and Snobs on Film. Next week we do a Snobs on Film and Music Snobs mashup, and we're going to talk about Purple Rain, both the film and the music. So we're going to have, good Lord, we're going to have like 6-7 people on that show. So that's going to be a bear, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. All right. So again, just because of time, I have to tell you something, Arthur. So make sure you get in touch with me right after the show about the website. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this break like super fast. So tonight, if you're in New York City, this is the place to be. I wish I was younger. I just can't hang from 10 to 5 a.m. in the morning. Still tired. But Moody Man is going to be at Soul in the Horn. Bilal is going to be at Soul in the Horn. And Asunlade is going to be at Soul in the Horn alongside Torture. So, I mean, this lineup is ridiculous. So if you're in New York and you want to get your dance on, this is the place to be, because Soul in the Horn, for those of you who don't know, is by the amazing DJ Natasha Diggs. So definitely, if you can go. All right. The Electric Lady Studios documentary 2024 just got released. It's playing at the Quad Cinema in New York. And I don't know if it was originally for a 2-week showing, but it's definitely one more week, because at first I thought it was just 1 week, but it's actually 2 weeks. So you still got time to see this documentary about Electric Ladyland. Again, if you go, you can do your Googles, as Michael Dean would say, or you can go to the website, go to the slideshow and click on the image, and it will take you to where you need to go. Same with entry points and all that. Corey Henry is still actually touring. Please support. The Quad is in New York City and Manhattan. So that's where it is. And then Corey Henry will be performing in Atlanta on August 21st. Please, all the ATLians, go out and support Corey Henry. I guarantee you will come away feeling rejuvenated, revived, just all the feels. So if you need some uplift, go see a Corey Henry show. This is the reason why I'm doing this, because he's an amazing musician. And he also is going to be in DC on August 23rd. He's going to be in New York on August 24th. I'm not missing that show. And then on Boston on August 25th. So
yeah, you're right, D. He's great.
He's amazing. Yeah. his spirit is just so high. Then Andre 3000 is coming to BAM in Brooklyn. So tickets are selling out. So if you want to go see him, you should buy your tickets. But with support from Michelle Indegeocello, mind blown. So I'm definitely going to see this because I've seen Andre twice for this tour, but I haven't seen him with Michelle Indegeocello. It's going to be on October 25th and October 26th as part of BAM Next Wave 2024. Yes, and definitely I love this. Amen to Corey Henry. That is correct. All right. Then Bilal is going on tour in October, and the New York City date is going to be October 19th, Music Hall of Williamsburg. And then he's coming to Atlanta because I know we have a lot of ATLians here on October 13th at City Winery. So, and I love this this poster for his tour, and you guys know how much I love Bilal. And then Layla Hathaway is also going on tour August 24th in Birmingham, Alabama, which is the first place I saw Prince live for the first time for the 1999 tour. And then she'll be in New Orleans the next day on the 25th. So a lot of amazing shows, and she'll be in New York by September 25th. Okay, Purple World. Really quickly, last night everybody should know there was a listening party at Paisley Park, which I'm so grateful for. I wish I could have gone, but I have to give many thanks to Lady K for the Twitter thread that she posted with a lot of clips from everything they played, because they showed some unreleased rehearsal footage, but not with the sound on, with the sound off. And you know, they had the magenta suit that everyone found out this week that Prince wore on the cover of Come, which is just kind of like mind-blowing. And how there's a thread going on in one of the Facebook groups about Under the Cherry Moon, and you know, how it would change if it was in color. And I think the same of this Come cover, like if we got the Come color in full color, how would that actually change how we receive that album? Because a lot of us perceive it as dark, you know, and moody and all of that. So mad thanks to Lady K. And again, if you go to the slideshow, you can click on it and get to the thread. But if not, you go on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and do your Googles for Lady K. And that's at Aria of the Key. And then also, we already talked about this. There was also the cornbread celebration last night, also in Minneapolis at the Cedar, celebrating obviously Cornbread Harris, who is Jimmy Jam's father, but also the release of Andrea's second book in 1 year, Deeper Blues. So that was really exciting. And we have tonight, actually, Morris Day and the Time and the New Power Generation are also going to be at Paisley Park. So this was a great weekend to be in Minneapolis, and maybe some of you already are. So there's lots to see and do in Minneapolis. Okay, so here we go. We're trying to get to with the quickness, because I know my guests are like, can you just like get to it? We've been here, we've been waiting. So first of all, I want to give many thanks to Marco of 99 Art for the amazing graphics for the Come Virtual Symposium. Many thanks to all the speakers. We don't have time, but you know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, it got rescheduled. So the Morris Day show got rescheduled. So thank you. That shows you how I'm not on social media. So that tonight's show got rescheduled. So thank you. That's why we do this in community, so I can be corrected. And then in addition to the speakers, I want to give mad thanks to all the attendees, because the chat was a hopping. It was like so amazing. And someone's asking, CydneeC, how to get your newsletter. So we'll
go to my website. You'll see my email. Email me, and I'll put you on the website. So just go to my website. My website is psychedelicliterature.com. You can't spell psychedelic, just start typing, and Google will do the rest. So psychedelicliterature.com. Go to my website. Email me, and I'll put you on the newsletter.
You can also go here too. If you go to psychedelicl.substack.com, it will take you directly to the newsletter.
You go there too. There you go.
Psychedelicl.substack.com. That's how you can get there with the quickness. All right. And then okay. And hold on. I'm about to bring you guys on. I thank you so much for your patience. So the videos are still up in Zoom events, and they'll be up until tomorrow night. And if you registered and participated, you just use the same link that you used before. And if you didn't register, you still can register. You can find the link on one of the posts at com30.substack.com. And that way you can watch all the videos, because I don't know when I'm going to get them on YouTube or Vimeo, because work right now is mad crazy. So if you really want to see these soon, you want to either try to look at them tonight or tomorrow. And then, like I said, they will eventually be posted at Polished Solid on YouTube. And those who can't, the videos that can't fit on YouTube will go to Vimeo, like Dan Charnas's amazing one from Triple Threat. It had some copyright strikes because of the music and stuff, so I put it on Vimeo. And then I have to give a mad shout out to Kanisa, who saved me in terms of posting this amazing Twitter thread with clips from all of the presentations. She did a brilliant job with it. So if you don't have time to watch it, you can at least look at the clips that Kanisa posted. All right.
Kanisa, know you better. Anyway.
All right, so now is the moment I've been waiting for, and I have to give mad thanks to CydneeC and Theo for being so patient. I'm going to bring you both up on stage. Welcome, CydneeC.
Hi, CydneeC. Oh, what's the matter, Sydney? All right, I'm done. Woo!
And we're also bringing the one and only Theo. Thank you for coming back and joining us. So one of the things that I'm really trying to do is making sure that we give love to the next power generation, because you are the ones who are going to carry forth Prince's legacy. So I know that both of you attended the COM Symposium the past weekend. So I really wanted to hear from you, like what were some of your favorite sessions or, you know, favorite moments from the 2 days. And thank you so much for your patience and for being here with us today.
Theo, I'll let you go first. You know, I'm nervous.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so, thank you for having us. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Yeah, so I love the COM album. It's in my top 10. And so like this symposium was really great because it further contextualized the album that I already love and actually love it more now, with some more context and insights from people that were around when it was first released. My highlight, I was definitely the ladies' roundtable, because I really love hearing from their perspective on Prince and with his like relationship to women and also to like his own femininity, and they have really great insight on that. And so, and I think Sydney would be a great addition to the ladies' roundtable. Well, yeah.
He been trying hard to get me on there, real hard.
Yes. Yeah. And well, yeah, another highlight, a moment that blew my mind was when, Celie, when you were made the comparison to Come in the Gold Experience to the Black Album and Love Sexy. Like, it, like I had to stop and think for a second. I was like, wait, I see it. Yeah, and then also like how those Edgar's presentation with the yin yang, like a similar sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, man. I need that affirmation.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, CydneeC.
Theo, real quick,
Mhm.
you look like what's my man? What do you look like, man? There's an actor dude. It's like is it Josh Williams or something? He was like on a doctor's show.
Are you talking about Jesse Williams?
Jesse Williams. You just remind me of
You
Jesse
do.
You see it?
Well, yeah.
You kind of like Jesse.
Well,
Here you go. Here you go.
I don't know why I said that.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I'll take it.
Yeah, I love how gracious you are, Theo. I'm going to take a cue from you for compliments. It's taken me a long time to take compliments, so yes, and we got confirmation. Jesse L. Williams.
Thanks, Rhonda.
All right. Okay, CydneeC, what about you? What did you get up on? What were some of your favorite moments or highlights or any key takeaways that you got from it?
Well, this was my first like symposium that I actually attended. I've been like seeing them over the years, but I've just been really busy with school and stuff. So I have some notes because y'all know I'm young but old and my mind be slipping. But for day one, I really did like the For You crew panel. That was just a really nice selection of people speaking. I could just watch the people. Like I could watch you guys speak all day. It was just really nice. And during that panel, there was a part in the panel where you guys were saying, hey, sometimes Prince would swap the word sex and God, and then sometimes you really wouldn't know if he would be talking about sex or God. And then I came to the conclusion while listening to that basically sex and God is the same thing. He just uses the words interchangeable. But I also liked how you guys still included What Did Prince Do This Week in the symposium. I really did love the fellas panel. I didn't think I was going to like it that much, actually. But I really, I really did like it. And during one of the conversations, Come was compared to Marvin Gaye's Here, My Dear. I really like that. I never thought about that at first, but it's so true. And then Law ended up saying that Here, My Dear is actually Nona Gaye's favorite album by her dad. And I love Nona Gaye, so I like to hear things like that. Also day two, I forgot which panel this was, but I wrote down. But so Mr. Scott Woods, during his solo presentation about the song Solo, I learned that Prince performed it live, but he kind of embarrassed himself by performing it live because people didn't really know the song and they kept clapping, during the silent parts and stuff like that. And I was halfway ready to fight when he said Solo just is not a good poem. I was ready to jump through the screen right quick. And also on day two, and was it the same panel? I believe it was a different panel, but Mr. Ali said that the Come album was basically Prince's coming, but I view it as more of his becoming. He was, coming into a new identity and, things of that sort and everything like that. So overall, it was really nice. It was a nice first experience. I will be back for more. And yeah, thank you for doing this. It was amazing.
Of course. And you're so after my heart because I love a person who takes notes. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm so glad that you actually brought up Scott Wood's presentation. And because we have CydneeC here, I actually wanted to ask CydneeC as a poet if he agreed with Scott and that Scott said that Solo was not a good poem.
So Scott and I actually had a confirmation in the chat because Lee Christian and I were having a talk. And I think so Scott and I are both published poets. And I think a lot of people didn't understand that Scott was coming from the notion of published writing. And let me, I'm not talking about solo, but I want to give y'all an example. The difference between, so let me say it this way. And hear me, because I get a lot of trouble for this, for saying something that I don't actually say. So hear clearly what I'm about to say. All spoken word artists are poets, but not all poets are spoken word artists. Let me say that again. All spoken word artists are poets, but not all poets are spoken word artists. How words perform in the oral is not how words perform on the page. The problem is you could hear a spoken word artist and enjoy that poem, enjoy that person. But if you take that same spoken word presentation and put it on a page, it's not going to work because it doesn't have a mastery of literary devices. Scott was saying that the song Solo as a song, is a great vocal performance. But if you are evaluating Solo as a poem, there is very little mastery of literary device. So if you ask published poets, if you ask people who read poetry, not just people who listen to it, not just people who like spoken word artists who perform the music. The problem is a lot of spoken word artists who perform to music use music as a crutch, and so you can't tell that they're not really masters of literary device. So what Scott was saying is that the Solo as a poem wouldn't get published because it doesn't execute literary device. Does not mean it's not a great song. And I think that's what Scott was not saying it's not a great song. It's a great, when there's a reason why I write about the theme of solo in my book, but I don't talk about the actual lyrics. I talk about the theme of it, and I talk about how the song carries the theme well. But if you're talking about a poem on paper, that's not a master lyric device. And I just wanted to make sure that people understand that's what Scott was saying. That's it. I'll shut up.
All right. So we are past time at 2:00. So if anybody needs to leave, please leave. Yes. I don't want you to like, when is she gonna shut up? But I would like to hear from from CydneeC and Arthur and Michael, if you guys have time. If you don't, I totally understand. Like, what were some of the highlights and key moments for you from the symposium?
Real quick, all of it was great. I want to see the Chris Tammy video again. I just thought that brought it home. You know what I mean? All of it was so impactful, but then just to like hear Prince's vocals, to see the energy in the video, hear Chris playing the piano. That was just, I guess I got so hyped watching that. When it was over, you had the one where everybody got on the screen, but then I went and listened to the record again, and just really tried to, I was just like, it made me really appreciate it all over again. I just thought that was so special that, them putting the video aspect and the production into it. To me, that was that made me feel like when Prince did a show and he just killed it. And it's like you just left the concert. You were just so like, I'm either gonna go out and dance the rest of the night, or I'm gonna be doing what that album talked about the rest of the night. I'm gonna be doing something. You know what I'm saying? It was just like one of them things. So that's what I loved about it.
Awesome. Yes. And I thought I knew they were going to bring it. I didn't see the video in advance, but I was like, whatever they do, I know, because Chris did I don't know if you remember, but he did a concert for us virtually for Dirty Mind 40 Graffiti Bridge 30. And Tammy did the set design for that show, and it was incredible. It really was.
Chris Rob danced the hell out of us virtually. That's what I said.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then obviously, we had the Triple Threat Symposium live performance with Chris Rob, and Tammy did the set design for that. So when Tammy said, can, Chris Rob join them, in putting together a presentation, I was like, yeah, I don't know what's going to come out of it, because, this is the first time, that was their first presentation. It knocked it out the park. I mean, mind blown. And it was such a great way to end the virtual symposium for sure. All right, Arthur and CydneeC, just because of time, I'm trying to.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah, I was really encouraged about how many people felt the same way about Come, because it's my second favorite album of Prince's in the 90s. And I know I called it a quiet album. It's 10 songs. It's not 18 and 20. It had a little more of an acoustic feel with some certain songs, and you had the power trio element that was going in there. But it brought to me, and some of this was discussed in many of the panels, but the strong idea of identity, but also Prince bringing out the fight with his record company to the forefront of conversation. And in real time, it was very easy for the public to kind of dismiss and reject Prince for being petulant and again, air quotes, weird and all of that, because of the constant narrative of what Prince was, walking around places with no shoes on, with doves flying around and flowers and all of that, But at that time, the public, we really weren't faced so strongly with an artist of his caliber bringing out the problems with the relationship with his record company, and it made me wonder, kind of after the fact. And after the fact, you kind of wish, oh man, I should have said this when we were on the microphone. But it would be interesting if it wasn't Prince. What if it was Janet Jackson that decided to change her name or record an independent single, or publicly talk about how she had a fight with A&M Records or Virgin, records at the time of Janet in 1993? You know, or what if it was Madonna? What if it was, you know, a white female 80s legacy artist who had her own label fighting with Warner Brothers? What would the reception be, you know, at that? Would there be questions of identity in that way? You know, would there be questions of Madonna just being, you know, petulant? I feel that Come is such a special album because it's really the centerpiece of this intersection of where Prince was trying to go and ultimately becoming as an indie artist, while at the same time still trying to, I guess, learn about the business of being an artist for himself. This is when I think Michael Bland was the one, I think there was like a clip that was shown, who talked about how Prince started reading the contract that he signed, you know, and at that time his management was really fluid, right? So it's like he was kind of forced to see what kind of deal was being negotiated on his behalf, you know. Made me wonder, man, if Steve Fargnoli was still in the picture, would he even sign that deal? What would the parameters have been around that? You know, I'm a what if guy, so I kind of, you know, scramble around. But the way that we talk about Prince now, brave, independent, won his battle, all of that, the epicenter of that in a discography conversation is the Come album. And it's just wonderful that it's being celebrated in the way that it is, and it's been loved the way that he is. And last thing, I was really surprised at how many people also felt like I was the only one like on an island enjoying this album, where all the attention was either being focused on the Symbol album, which came before it, or how he so much wanted the Gold Experience to happen following. So it was one of the best virtual symposiums, definitely, but it was one of the best symposiums that D'Angelo you've been able to produce.
I think it's really because of the mixed reception to Come. But for me, at the end of the day, despite all the things you just said, which are extremely important, it's about the music at the end of the day. And the music on that album is fire. I mean, it's such a brilliant album. And I thought that in real time, and I still do. And that's the reason why I wanted to just send some bat signals that Come is amazing. So let's celebrate and also have some critical conversations about Come. So I'm so happy that all of you joined me in that journey. Liegh, did you want to say anything before we end?
I'll just echo Brother Turnbull's point, and by highlighting the 6 faces that are on the screen. I think that the Come Symposium is just another example of the wonderful community, Prof. Duff, that you have curated. I think that what's great about, because I'm gonna be honest with you, this is my time to Prince out, to geek out, to, you know, the symposiums for me is a time to be with my family. But let me be really clear. It's some smart ass people at them symposiums. It's some people who know they ish at them symposiums. Like, this ain't just, you know, and I don't mean to be egotistical, but it's like, it's people who they'll call themselves a Prince fan, and all you gotta do is let them talk for 2 or 3 days. Okay, you know, one album. I'm done talking to you, right? And so I just like to applaud you because you're not interested in putting carbon copies or mirrors of you. You're not. That's the one thing about the 4U crew. Y'all don't always agree. But that's to me one of the calling card of your symposiums is the variety of ideas because of the variety of backgrounds. And it's not, and we've gotten to the point where we all know it's not about agreeing, it's about going, oh crap, I didn't think about it that way. Oh, you know, look, remember I told you what was about 6 months ago? I'm not gonna lie. This, it made me revisit the Apollonia 6 album. Like, Apollonia 6, I was 2 songs. That's it. I was there for ever since 1980. I was 2 songs. That's all I needed from Apollonia 6. I got my 2. And then what did Prince do this week? I was like, oh crap, really? And I went back. Now I'm 4 songs in on Apollonia 6. And you know, that ain't the whole album, but I've gone from 2 to 4. I'm 4 in. So I just want to applaud you. And again, to echo Brother Turnbull's point, the chat is extremely important. The chat is extreme. We're not going to always agree. We're not going to always click. Some of us going to block each other. That's cool. But the chat is really important. And because y'all, every Saturday and at every symposium, I can tell you this. There's not one Saturday that's gone by, not one symposium that's gone by that I didn't learn something that I didn't know. And I've been a Prince fan since 1978. But that's all due to the fact that Prof. Duff is not interested in getting people who agree with her. She's interested in getting some of the best minds as possible to discuss one of the greatest geniuses we've ever had. I'll shut up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words and your continued support, CydneeC. I couldn't do it without all of you, every one of you who's on that screen, all of you who are in the chat. And again, it's going to take all of us to keep Prince's name on the lips of the children. So with that being said, because we're way over time, Michael Dean, take us out.
Yeah, just wanted to add to CydneeC. We see that. What's that back there? Is that a guitar or bass? Come on, now
it's the acoustic guitar and there's an electric one next to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
I sing. I'm an artist.
Really? Okay.
Oh, Brother Dean, before you go, I know that I just want people to say it's not the greatest lyric, but verse 3 of CydneeC, it may be the most pimpinest lyric Prince has ever written. Go read verse 3 from CydneeC. That may be even more pimping than cool, maybe even more pimping than 7779311. Read verse 3 of CydneeC. I'm sure you're quite intelligent, a wizard in math and all that shit, but I'm a tad more interested in flying your kite tonight. That's some pimping.
Hilarious.
That's it. I'm done.
Love it. We went from pastor to player, but I love it. All right. What I want to say again, thank you to our guests, Theo, CydneeC, author, not even a guest no more. Celie, you a part of this, so you're a regular. But salute to our guests. You guys brought a lot to the table. Salute to everybody in the chat as usual. Lively, great discussion. It's a part of the show. We can't do it without the chat. Salute to D'Angela. And salute to you watching wherever you are in the world. We so appreciate you. You don't even understand. But with that said, have a great rest of your week. Work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.